right, we are looking at lesson 45 today. Difference of two squares theorem. It is not complicated. Before I forget though, all right, pass those around. Not right now. Not right now. Do that later. All right. Yes, this is for the third 6 weeks. If P and Q are real numbers and P squared equals Q squared, P has to equal plus or minus Q. I'll go over one. Yes, Q equals plus or minus P. That would also work. We'll do an example, and I think it'll make a lot more sense. You can solve these two different ways. You can do it by factoring, or you can do it by just solving for x and taking the square root. X squared equals 4, right? How would I solve for x? When you take the square root, what do you have to put out in front of it? A plus or a minus. Anytime you take the square root, you're supposed to put plus or minus out in front of it. Okay? So, x equals plus or minus the square root of 4. Well, what is the square root of 4? So, x equals plus or minus 2. 2 squared is what? 4. What is negative 2 squared? It's still 4. So, it works either way. Right. We haven't gotten to one where we've always been using like distance formula. You can have a negative distance. And that's main. Does that make sense? No, like when you've done the distance from one point to the other and you take the square root with your Pythagorean theorem, you're looking at a distance. And distance can't be negative. That's why you haven't had a negative. Okay? You can also factor this. Do what? Kind of. Yeah. Okay? Some of these, you're going to look at it and say, I'm going to factor. Some of them, you're going to do it the way on the left. I don't care which way you do it. It really doesn't matter to me. Okay, for this one. Well, depending on what problem. How are we going to solve for P? P squared equals Q squared. could, well, you don't need plus or minus. You don't need the plus or minus on both sides. No, they won't give you one like that. Any questions so far? Okay. This one's a little bit different, isn't it? You could factor it. They're not going to come up with whole numbers, though. So you don't want to factor it. X plus 17 equals plus or minus the square root of 2. Because it was squared. The square root of 4 squared is 4. The square root of anything squared is just that number or that thing. Does that make sense? No. We got to solve for x. So yes, subtract 17. You can either write it negative 17 plus or minus the square root of 2, or if you want, you can say plus. I'm going to usually do it this way, although this way is correct. Does that make sense? I usually put my radicals in my answer, but it doesn't really matter which way you do it. Does that make sense? Okay. See if you can solve this one for x. Do you agree so far? Okay. So x would have to equal what? Let's just take them and switch the order of them. Plus or minus 3, the square root of 3, and then minus 2. You took this one and put it in that. Only the square root of 3. That's why you have to keep the plus or minus on the end. But that doesn't affect the negative 2. Any other questions on these? Do we need to do any more?